once again. Welcome to Fred's Footy Fest, and today we'll be looking at round 12 of the NRL Premiership, indigenous round. And to kick us off is a clash between the Broncos and the Panthers. Now last week, the Broncos were upsetted by the Melbourne Storm in Melbourne, whereas the Panthers were back home after a few weeks, and they flogged the Roosters. It was a massive scoreline. Panthers easily seen as the better side. For this game, I'm expecting another win from the Penrith side. I'm going to say 16 points. This is because Broncos are missing out on a great player in Adam Reynolds. It's a crucial loss for the club. Whereas the Panthers are looking good at the moment. They're in good form and are looking to go for a three-peat. So I think the Panthers should get the job done here by a pretty big margin if they can play how they did last week. Friday, 6 o'clock, there's a clash between the Dragons and the Roosters. Now last week the Dragons lost to the Cowboys by like 20 odd points, whereas the Roosters were flogged by Penrith. Now Joey Manu is injured for this one, but I still have high hopes for the Roosters because they are playing the Dragons, and I understand Dragons are their Anzac Day rivals, but I can't see the Dragons winning, honestly. Roosters, they're a pretty good side, and I don't think they want to slip out of the top 8. Whereas the Dragons aren't a very successful side at the moment. So I'm expecting the Roosters to win without Joey Manu. And the Friday night game is a clash between the Rabbitohs and the Eels. The Rabbitohs were in full form last round against the Tigers, winning 20-0, and are now currently the ladder leaders. The Eels, on the other hand, were without Mitchell Moses last round, so unfortunately lost to the Raiders in a close battle. Now, Mitchell Moses will be returning for this game, however, they have lost second rower Sean Lane. He will not be in this one. So I think I'll have to tip the Rabbitohs. And that's not the only reason why I'm tipping the Rabbitohs, but I think they'll be the team to beat this year. They're looking very strong at the moment, and I can't see them slipping any sooner. So I'll tip the Rabbitohs. 3 o'clock on Saturday is a clash between the Sharks and the Knights. Now the Sharks last week managed to beat Manly, whereas the Knights also got a win against the Titans by 20 odd points. Now for this game, I think I'll tip Sharks, as they are a pretty consistent side at the moment, and coming up against a team like the Knights, I think they should win comfortably. So I think I'll tip the Sharks for this one. 5:30 Leichhardt Oval is a clash between the West Tigers and the North Queensland Cowboys. Now, last week the Tigers were flogged by the Rabbitohs 20-0, whereas the Cowboys scored 20 points more than the Dragons. They won, I think it was like 42-22, something like that. So the Cowboys, you can see that they've picked up a little bit from 2022, but I still can't see them going anywhere this season. They haven't been the side that everyone has expected them to be. But coming up against the Tigers, they should get the job done. They are the favourites for this game. Whereas the Tigers, I can see them pull off an upset, but I'm not sure because the Cowboys did flog the Dragons. So I think I'll have to tip the Cowboys for this game. 7:35 Saturday night. There's a clash between the Dolphins and the Storm. Now, last week the Dolphins had the bye, but the week previous they beat the Sharks, which no one expected it to happen. Whereas the Storm pulled off their own little upset against the Broncos. For this game, honestly, I think I'll tip the Storm. I believe they should get the job done, and they look to have the better side on paper. And their halves, Munster and Jerome Hughes, still continue to play their best. So, I think they should get the job done, the Storm. But I think the Dolphins will put up a fight. 2 o'clock on Sunday is a clash between the Bulldogs and the Titans. Now this one's going to be a tough one to choose out of, because the Bulldogs were beaten by the Warriors last week, whereas the Titans were flogged by the Knights. Now Josh Adokar is back in the team for the Bulldogs, so it gives them a pretty big boost when it comes to speed. However, I think I'll tip the Titans. They've just looked to be the better side so far this year. And I'm not going to write the Bulldogs off, because Titans are not a very successful team at the moment. And Bulldogs have pulled off some little tricks lately, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Bulldogs did get the win. But however, I think I'll tip the Titans, as they are the favourites to win this. And as I said, I think they'll just be better than the Bulldogs this week. So I think I'll tip the Titans. And the final game to wrap up this week is a clash between the Raiders and Manly. Now, Manly haven't been that great lately. At the start of the year, they were looking pretty good. Everyone expected them to be like the 05 Tigers, but they haven't promised us anything. Whereas the Raiders are sitting in seventh position. And at the moment, they're going to the finals as it is. Whether they can keep that up or not, but they're going pretty good at the moment. So I think I'll tip the Raiders. They should be good enough to beat Manly, seeing as that they managed to beat the Eels last week, even though there was no Mitchell Moses. I think they should be good enough to beat Manly, as Parramatta have the best forward pack in the game. So I think if they can beat Parramatta's forward pack, they should easily beat Manly's, because Manly's forward pack are not the best. So I'll tip the Raiders. And that's my tips for this week, everyone. Tune in next week for some other great games. It'll be round 13, and you'll see the Thursday night clash, Dolphins and the Dragons on Channel 9. Friday night clash on Channel 9. Hang on. Yes, Channel 9 is the Eels and the Cowboys. And Saturday, the Broncos will play the Warriors. The Rabbitohs will play the Raiders. And the Knights will play Manly. 5 games next week. The rest will have the bye, because it'll be Origin 2 weeks' time. I'm excited for that. So I won't be doing Fred's Footy Fest for that one, because it's obvious I'm a Queenslander. But I'm very excited for Origin. So I'll see you then, folks. Bye.